Welcome to another episode of the Blood Knight Reacts. I'm your host, the Blood Knight of the Old Republic of Bloodganistan. Like, share, and subscribe. And today I am reacting to a video. If you're reading this, I'm in prison. It is by content creator named Free Jack D. It's Jack D. Denemo. Okay. And he got hit with some false allegations against him. And I am reacting to this video. Full disclosure, I have seen this video before, but I figure this is pre-watched. But I figured I give my take on this video, so just full disclosure about this video. It has been a while though since I've watched this video, so it ain't fresh in my memory and whatnot. So, yeah, just full disclosure on that. So anyway, let's hear what this guy has to say and what happened to him. And yeah, hopefully the YouTube ads won't be too intrusive. So yeah, anyway, sit back, relax, like, share, and subscribe, hype this video, leave a comment, etc. You know the drill, folks. You know the drill. So without further ado, let's get into this video. See what he has to say.
My name's Jack. I'm a content creator, or I used to be, until I had my life torn apart by a false accusation. Since this situation went public, I've received death threats, I've been banned from establishments, all of my YouTube channels have been taken down, I've lost friends.
Oh yeah. This guy's life has been destroyed. This is what false accusations can do. So, yeah.
I've lost work opportunities, pretty much everything. I'm innocent. That's all I gotta say, really. Everybody knows I'm innocent. I did not want to have to make this video, but I've been silent on this issue for as long as possible, and enough is enough. My appeal was this month, and I'm waiting on the decision, so I still have to be extremely careful about what I say. My goal with this video is to share what happened in a non-biased a way as I possibly can. I'm gonna try my best not to be emotional and just be completely neutral here, and share objective facts and evidence to show my innocence. The timelines of the encounter, inconsistencies in the evidence and testimony, and that there are enough inconsistencies to make you go read the full testimony yourself. Legally, I'm not allowed to say as much as I would like to, but I'm going to do my best to share what I can. Before anything else...
Me personally, it's like scorched earth. I would be going full scorched earth. I would be naming names, everything. The whole shebang. But that's just me.
I do want to say this. I believe survivors of sexual assault and false accusations of sexual assault deserve to be taken seriously and treated with compassion. I've been through both. Nothing I'm about to say is meant to minimize real harm. That being said, let's get into it. In February 2021, I was falsely accused and charged with sexual assault from a consensual encounter between myself and a woman.
He's censoring the word sexual. That's crazy.
In August 2020. I'll refer to her as the accuser. My legal team and I spent several years going back and forth to get records and evidence to help my case, and we finally went to trial in 2024, and the judge wrongfully convicted me. I say wrongfully as I have always maintained my innocence, and I will explain why in a bit.
So yeah, this guy, he had a full legal team, folks. Presumably multiple lawyers. Presumably. So, yeah.
Based on how things go with my appeal, there are two options.
And this guy still got sent to jail.
Either the appellate court will order me a new trial, or I'll have to spend 3 years in jail for something I didn't do, and my life is essentially over. And in the meantime, there's been newspaper articles, there's been documentaries, and all kinds of misinformation put out. So now I'm going to go over some information to help you get a better grip of what actually happened. At the time of the incident, I was a YouTuber, actor, filmmaker, and primarily known for pranks. I've been working full-time and earning a living as a content creator since approximately 2016. I met the
Guy was just on his grind, folks. And then this happened to him. Personally, I'd be pissed the hell right off, you know?
User after matching with her on Tinder. Tinder is an app for people to go and hook up with. I recognized her from one of my party videos, McMaster Hoko 2019. On that day, this person managed to find me and my camera crew in a crowd of 10,000 people in order to be interviewed. After matching on Tinder, we messaged on Instagram, texting and flirting before agreeing to meet up. The accuser drove approximately 30 minutes from Oakville to my house in Hamilton, Ontario. I invited her in, I showed her around, and then she asked for a tour of my YouTube studio. I suggested we should go for a hike. We then left my house and drove to a hiking trail, but upon arriving, it was getting dark, so we agreed to return to my house and watch Netflix and chill. Upon returning to my house, we did just that. We watched Netflix and we had a consensual encounter. I'm not proud to admit this, but at the time, I was sleeping around.
Okay, yeah. So, pretty standard fare, you know? It's like the guy's got a little bit of celebrity, and yeah, it attracted some women to him, and yeah. He had himself a consensual encounter. I don't blame him.
With a bunch of different women. The accuser also had multiple different partners recently before me, as per DNA evidence, as well as confirming sleeping with an alleged boyfriend just a few days prior to meeting me. Now, to clarify, this is not a judgment on her character. Rather...
Oh. Okay, yeah, so this woman was freaking cheating on her boyfriend with this guy. God damn. Oh. Spicy.
It's to provide context on our generation's modern culture of frequent hookups. In retrospect, I definitely should not have been sleeping with these women. But I was a young guy, and I was famous on the internet. I would often film a quick consent video when having sexual encounters with strangers that knew I had a large following as a proactive way to ensure I had clear consent from whoever I was hooking up with.
Okay, yeah. So, this guy had... Okay, this guy had a video with this... This guy had a video of this girl giving consent to have activities done and whatnot. So, yeah. It's like you can have a person. It's like you can have a sexual encounter. It's like you can have a video of them stating that it's all consensual and above board, and you can still get sent to jail. Yeah, that's the world we're living in. Alternatively, if you wait to have sex till marriage, it's like at any point the woman can basically pull the pin on that marriage and pretty much destroy your life. And if you got kids, you pretty much you get your kids taken away from you. So yeah.
With especially women who have been featured in
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
a previous video of mine. This is not a normal way to live, but it is common in society and especially amongst athletes, celebrities, and public figures. So during our encounter, I attempted to film a consent video and she informed me that she didn't want to be recorded. So I stopped the recording and deleted whatever was briefly recorded right in front of her. We then continued what we were doing, having a consensual sexual encounter. I want to be very clear here.
Okay, so he did red flag right there. Should have just kicked her out, you know? Should have just kicked her out. Red flag. Red flag. So I guess he didn't really actually have the video, but they still had the sexual encounter. It's like, personally, it's like, if I was in that situation, I'd say to the girl, it's like, well, sorry, we can't go forward. It's like, get out. Probably still would have gotten accused. No doubt.
The encounter was enthusiastic, ongoing. There was no confusion about it. She was consenting, as was I. She communicated consent in many different ways, particularly verbally, asking me to spank her and telling me during sex, "Fuck me, fuck daddy," amongst other things.
No, that's pretty hot. Not gonna lie, that's pretty hot.
I don't want to repeat them, but you can go and read the things that she said to me in the transcripts. After finishing our encounter, we chatted briefly before I politely told her I had to be up early in the morning, and I asked her to leave. That was the conclusion of the date. Quoting from the court transcripts, although the accuser originally told police that she was obviously fine with being asked to leave, her testimony at trial revealed otherwise. In cross-examination, she admitted that the dismissal did not feel good, and she agreed with trial counsel that she felt worthless because she was treated as a conquest.
Huh. Okay, so yeah, this woman was out for revenge. Okay, yeah, that explains it.
Or notch on Mr. Densmore's bedpost. So in hindsight, I can absolutely see why this would make her feel bad. She had traveled to see me. She was texting her friends and family about me and our date ahead of time. In particular, some high expectations for me. Kicking her out was rude and
Oh, she thought. Oh, she thought she was gonna go steady with him. Okay, yeah, damn. This guy was looking to score, and this woman, it's like she was just putting it out there and wanted something more. That makes sense.
dismissive. I didn't think that way at the time, but I regret how I handled that, and if I could go back, I would do things differently. With that being said, all of the sexual activity that we did was consensual. And when I say consensual...
Oh, I guarantee you, it's like, that sexual encounter, you do things differently, alright? That sexual encounter would not have happened at all.
I don't mean ambiguous or neutral. I mean it was enthusiastic, encouraging, and ongoing, and I testify to that under oath. To put it simply, the whole thing was a typical one-night stand. Just to be clear, my charge had nothing to do with filming a consent video. It was entirely based on an allegation that I non-consensually assaulted this person. This was shocking to me. It absolutely destroyed my mental health, and for months...
So yeah, you can have a consensual relations with a woman. She can turn around, go to the cops, say that she got raped and assaulted. Let me say sex. She can go to the cops, she can say that. Next thing you know, you're facing false allegations, and yeah, it's like with the way the courts be running these days, it's like you're guilty till proven innocent, pretty much. So yeah. Alternatively, if you do the virtuous thing, and wait to have sex before marriage, or wait to have sex after marriage, sorry. It's like wait to have sex after marriage. It's like the woman, if she doesn't like you or if anything's going wrong, she can then decide to pull the pin in that relationship, in that marriage, and then completely destroy your life, destroy your finances, and if you got kids, take your kids away from you. So, yeah. It's like, welcome to 2026. Everything is fucked.
I was so confused. What the f*** am I being charged with? We do know what the reasons were now, and we'll get into those later, but I was charged in...
Oh, yeah. It's like, this guy, it's like... He thought everything was great, you know? Then all this shit starts happening. Yeah.
In February 2021, and these charges were then made public in October 2022 after the accuser contacted my city's local newspaper to run a story about these allegations before that year's McMaster Hoko was to take place. During this time...
Okay, so she went to the newspaper, the local newspaper, to basically defame this guy. Okay, yeah.
I felt absolute agony. I stopped making comedy and prank videos because I just, to put it simply, lost my sense of humor, and it's embarrassing to admit, but I felt helpless. Now I want to give you an overview on these things in...
Oh yeah, this guy's from Canada, folks. I'm from Canada. So yeah, this is Canada, folks. It's like it's like completely wrecked his freaking grind, you know?
Society. Through legal counsel and many other stories that have been shared with me, I've learned that my case is not unique. False accusations are common and absolutely devastating to the victims. For those that don't know, in Canada, there's no actual evidence required to charge and convict somebody in this type of crime. In most...
Yeah. So the woman does not need any kind of evidence. Theoretically, it's like any woman can just accuse a man of sexual assault. Or inappropriate, if that's the case, I would assume, but I'm not a legal expert. But holy shit, yeah.
Assault cases, there isn't actually any concrete evidence. It ends up just being one person's word versus another. He said, she said situation. To put it simply, telling the truth is...
He said, she said. And basically... basically, yeah, in this day and age, you're guilty till proven innocent.
Not enough. So as an accused person, the only strategy you have is to find lies, discrepancies, contradictions in the accuser's story. So imagine you or your loved one is being accused despite there being zero evidence. If you or your loved one's defense lawyer cannot question the credibility of the person making these accusations, it will most likely lead to a conviction, and there's nothing you can do about it. As much.
Okay, yeah. So they don't need any physical evidence. Don't need any physical evidence. So, yeah, you can't. So, yeah. No physical evidence.
Just this system and laws were put into place with good intentions to help real victims and real survivors. An unfortunate side effect is that they are highly abusable and exploitable. They often take years of time, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and...
Yeah, they are extremely abusable. They're extremely abusable. And yeah, it's like how long before that becomes widely known, and how long before that becomes widely known that the laws are that abusable? I have seen in Japan, it's like there are stories of guys accidentally brushing up against women, or women brushing up against men, and those women they'll accuse the guy of sexual assault. So what's end up happening is they'll end up throwing hands at the girl, because assault and battery, it's like you get like a few, it's like you get either a few days in jail, like 10 to 15 days in jail, as opposed to like a full year in jail. So, yeah.
The accused person?
Yeah, Japan's 10 years ahead of us, folks.
Loses their job, loses their reputation, and is publicly shamed, and potentially even ends up in jail for something they didn't do. But aside from that, from the defendant's standpoint, there are also laws that have been put into place to make it even more difficult to defend yourself. In a normal trial, you can get access to information such as records, messages, emails, etc. However, in assault cases, the police and prosecutors can, and in my case, they did, actively redact any and all information or evidence to prevent you from using it in your...
So yeah, in these trials, any kind of evidence that could support your case is purposefully redacted and excluded from trials. So, yeah.
Your defense. So, in my case, it was brought to our attention that there were thousands of communication records that had been redacted by the police. We later found out that the police not only redacted all of this data, but they actually emailed the accuser and said, "Is there anything specifically that you would like us to redact?" And then she replied saying, "Yes, I would like you to redact all of the emails with my therapist and all of the communications with her alleged boyfriend, and in particular..."
Okay, this woman had a therapist. This woman was going to a freaking therapist. Her mind was not running on all cylinders, how shall we say? A little bit of a nut. Definitely sounds like a loose bag of nuts and bolts.
There are specific emails that were very, very telling about what actually happened that night. And I will get into them later on. But anyways, back to the evidence. At one point, I remember they gave us about 90 different pages, and around 80 of them were completely blacked out. I'm not a lawyer. I'm actually kind of an idiot. But from what I've been explained by legal counsel, this makes it incredible.
80 pages worth of information that could have potentially saved this guy from jail time. 80 pages worth.
Hard to defend yourself at trial. For example, if there is evidence that we're bringing that contradicts their version of events, they can change their version of events before trial. So why is it like this then? Well, first of all...
Wow. Yeah, crazy. This is in Canada, folks.
Obviously, it's intended to protect real survivors from privacy concerns, as well as trials being delayed. But what it really is they essentially wanted to get more convictions. After the 2016 acquittal of John Gomeshi, which led to significant changes to Canadian law, frequently referred to as the Gomeshi Rules. This was implemented via Bill C-51 and subsequent legislation, which are designed to make it easier to secure convictions by altering how evidence regarding a complainant's credibility is handled. These changes were meant...
Yeah, guilty till proven innocent. and yeah, they can redact everything. They any freaking evidence that could be in your benefit or in your favor, completely redacted.
To counteract how in the Ghomeshi trial, the defense was able to use contradictory evidence like emails and photos to successfully challenge the credibility of witnesses and get an acquittal. In summary.
Okay, yeah. So, basically what happened was this guy got accused and he used facts, logic, and reason and found some inconsistencies in the opposing party's story and whatnot, and was able to get free. But now the government has closed that loophole.
Because of Bill C-51 and the Ghomeshi rules, if there is evidence that shows contradictions in the accuser's statements, it can be discarded. And even if it's not discarded and it is allowed at trial, it has to be given to them and approved, and that gives them the opportunity to prepare for it and potentially alter a story. This is what has been put into effect to get more convictions. The problem is, it is potentially at the cost of innocent people going to jail and have...
This is one of the reasons why I don't date. Too easy. It is too easy to get accused of shit, you know? And you also, it's like the endpoints of dating are also fucked. Because, yeah, no fault divorce, you get yourself financially ruined. And, yeah, it's crazy out here, folks.
Having their life ruined. Again, I want to preface, I am not a lawyer, but that is my understanding of the law, and I'm open to being corrected. Now, right off the bat, from the statements of the accuser alone, we had many examples of inaccuracies, contradictions, and story changes. But once we found out that there was all this actual evidence that had been intentionally redacted, we became very curious. After several years and over $100,000 just in pre-trial applications.
So if this trial had happened before the Ghomeshi trial, he probably would not be in jail.
Costs, we were able to get a significant portion of the redacted evidence, including emails, text messages, etc. After reviewing them, it was quite clear that there were multiple strong motives to fabricate these allegations. Now, if we go back to the encounter, remember that the accuser only actually had an issue with my attempts to film a consent video. This is what was so confusing to me, because I was there. She initiated sex with me afterwards, and we continued having sex. All of this material is available in the official trial transcripts, which you can go over in the description. But even though I deleted whatever was recorded, she had a massive concern on whether or not this video still existed, and was worried that it would be circulated online. And we know this because it was mentioned multiple different times. For example, from the April 18th transcript. And what about if he actually took the video? If he did, and that got out, that could ruin my entire life. That is from the email she sent her therapist the night of our date. From April 18th, this is...
Alright, so this girl gets together with this guy. She tells her whole family and whatnot. It's like, this girl, she wanted to be more than just a side piece. She was actively dating someone else, cheating on him for this guy. So, yeah. Loyalty's dead, I guess. She wanted more, and she thought this guy had a full consent video. So I think, yeah, she definitely wanted to destroy this guy's life. Definitely had motive. She definitely had motive.
This is at 2:22 p.m. on August the 7th, 2 days after August the 5th. Also, I'm going to the police, maybe not to press charges, but I want to tell them and report it and see if they could do anything about him possibly taking a video or picture of me. End quote. My lawyer asked, "You sent this, right?" She responds, "Yes." My lawyer, "Okay, so again, the primary purpose for going to the police that you are sure you want them to do something about is to see if he took pictures or videos of you."
So she wanted the police to try and take this guy's video. A potential video he could have taken of her, but that he didn't take of her. And he's not... She basically did... She wasn't accusing... She was, at that point, wasn't accusing him of any kind of misconduct or whatnot. Interesting.
Accuser, yes. Lawyer, and in your mind, you would agree that that would entail them having to at least go to his house, talk to him. Accuser, yes. And taking his phone. Accuser, yes. Okay, and then making sure that there wasn't anything there that you had in a compromised picture or video, right? Accuser.
So yeah, she's directly going to his house. She's directly going to his house, you know, in all this. So it's like, yeah.
Sir, yes. If you want to double check this is all in the testimony on April 18th. So, when she contacted the police, her concern was to know for sure that the video was truly deleted. However, the only way that the police can search a phone is by obtaining a warrant, and a warrant can only be obtained if there was a crime. From the appeal. Although this factual conclusion was not mandatory, given the evidence, reaching it meant that when the accuser left Mr. Densmore's home, she believed he possessed a compromising video of her on his phone, which increased the probative value of evidence supporting a potential motive to fabricate. As Justice Kravchenko concluded, the accuser's most significant concern was that Mr. Densmore had images or videos of her on his phone. It was essential to consider whether the accuser made the sexual assault allegation partly or fully to prompt police to access his device, especially since the police apparently would not take action unless she made a formal.
So yeah, she wanted the police to basically be her personal muscle, take this guy's phone, and if there was any kind of video of her, just delete the video, I guess. She was using the police as her personal enforcers. So yeah, and in order for the police to do anything, they have to be told that there is there has to be like a sexual encounter and all that. So yeah, goddamn.
Complaint. In regards to her email to the police, she said, "I'm unsure if I want to press charges at this time, but I'm deeply concerned as..."
Okay, so she didn't want to press any charges. Well, that is interesting, yeah.
To if he has any photos or videos of me. Following back and forth communication with the police, the accuser eventually went in and gave an official statement nearly 2 months later. She then described a non-consensual encounter that, to be frank, did not happen. I'm going to try and say this as politely as possible. There are multiple points in the accuser's testimony which contradict her police statements and her testimony at trial. I want to share a few major discrepancies, and then you can decide for yourself. Now, as a warning, some of the information I'm about to share is graphic and potentially triggering, but I must go into these details so that you can see just a couple of the major discrepancies and inconsistencies in this person's testimony. I'm just comparing her version of events compared to her other versions of events and her own testimony. Let's proceed. The accuser testified that I aggressively removed her shirt and pulled down her dress. In testimony, she claimed, "He started by removing my shirt and pulling down my dress so that my breasts were exposed." Then, in cross-examination, she further insisted, "No, he didn't ask me to take it off. He just started to take it off." My lawyer asked again, "You're sure about that?" To which the accuser confirmed, yes. She made this allegation in testimony and then doubled down on this in cross-examination with my lawyer. However, these new allegations she made in her...
It's okay, so the guy took the girl's shirt off. I don't know about you, but it's like if you're taking a shirt off, it's like your arms gotta be like this, you know. They gotta be up in the air. Otherwise, you'd have to be ripping off the shirt, and it's like unless the shirt's pre-ripped, you ain't ripping off a shirt. So she would have had to have had her arms up. She would have had to have her arms up in the air, or it's like he would have had to have or otherwise there'd be like a physical altercation and whatnot to take off the shirts and what have you.
Her testimony are totally different from her actual statement to police. To police, she said, "So we went to his room and we were like just sitting on his bed and he put on a show on Netflix and then he put his arm around me and then after a few minutes kissed me, which I was okay with. And then he told me like, take off my shirt, which..."
Okay, she was okay with being told to kiss, goddamn.
"I was comfortable with because I was like wearing a dress underneath it." So in her original story, she claims that I politely requested her to take her shirt off and she did it herself voluntarily and comfortably. However, at trial, she said, "He started by removing my shirt and pulling down my dress."
Oh, damn, yeah. That's major inconsistency. In one version of events, it's like she voluntarily took her shirt off, and another, it's like she's saying this guy took his shirt off.
so that my breasts were exposed. Then in cross-examination, she further insisted, again, as part of this aggressive encounter she's trying to paint, no, he didn't ask me to take it off. He just started to take it off. My lawyer confirmed. Are you sure? She confirmed, yes, that is how it happened. However, my lawyer then confronted her with her own original statement to police, and he reminded her that this is what she said, and then he asked her again what actually happened. She then confirmed her original story, which is that I asked her to take her shirt off, and she did so voluntarily. My lawyer further confirmed, asking, because you're the one that took your shirt off with his request, and that was your way of showing interest or consenting, right? To which she responded, yes. This is a clear example of willingness to intentionally remove and omit participation and change details to suit the false narrative of an aggressive, non-consensual encounter, which, to put it simply, just never happened. Moving on. There were fabricated bruises. The accuser claims that I aggressively bit her breasts, causing bruising, swelling, and red marks for days after. On August 6th, less than 1 day after our date, the nurse examined her breasts and found 0 bruising, 0 swelling, and 0 red marks. This was totally fabricated.
Damn. God damn. It's like, God damn, this woman.
From the appeal, in her examination in chief, the accuser described an aggressive sexual assault. It began when Mr. Densmore removed her shirt and pulled down her dress, exposing her breasts. She testified that Mr. Densmore kissed and bit her breasts, which was quite painful, and that the biting left bruises and red marks that lingered for 2 to 3 days after their encounter. He then put...
Now, I don't know about you, but it's like, if there's a girl, let's say she's 5 foot something or other, over 5 feet. Basically, if you're trying to do anything to her, it's like this guy doesn't have any muscles. This guy doesn't have any muscles, you know. He's not built to be muscular. It's like if you're trying to restrain someone that's like 5 foot something, you're trying to do some involuntary stuff to them. It's like that person, it's like they're gonna be thrashing about. They're gonna be hitting the guy with the nails. They're gonna be like a freaking mongoose or something, scratching at you, clawing at you. It's like, and this guy ain't built like this guy ain't built with muscles, you know. So it's like, yeah, it's like even as a guy, it's like you do have enhanced upper body strength, but it's like there are limits, you know. So freaking how is this woman built, I wonder. But yeah, the guy, like there'd be claw marks, there'd be everything, you know. I don't doubt that. And it's like this guy, he's putting his physical face is being put directly against the girl's breasts, and she's not clawing at him. It's like this guy, it's like his physical face is right up against her breasts, and she ain't clawing the shit out of him or ripping out hair, doing all that kind of jazz. It's like, yeah. It's like in the aftermath of any of that, it's like that guy, it's like that guy would be freaking all scratched up. It's like there would be inside her fingernails. It's like there'd definitely be like his skin and whatnot inside her fingernails, like inside the fingernails and whatnot. If she was trying to get him away from her, trying to scratch him and all that in order to get him away from her. It's like, yeah. So this, it's like, yeah, automatically shit does not line up.
Pushed her onto her back, got on top of her, and penetrated her digitally. Page 34. Though the events described above qualify as a violent assault, Justice Kravchenko flatly rejected the accuser's account, noting how it conflicted with evidence from the nurse who examined the accuser's breasts and found no bite marks or bruising. He also noted a major inconsistency about digital penetration that was brought out in cross-examination. This is another clear example of
no bruising and no bite marks. It's like, yeah, if you're forcing a woman to do that kind of stuff, you're doing that kind of stuff to her, it's like, oh, definitely there would be some bruising, I would imagine. It's like, and yeah, you're putting, it's like she's not doing everything in her power to stop that. It's like the guy's putting his face against her breasts and she ain't clawing the guy's eyes out. Oh yeah, definitely red flag, you know. Definitely.
Fabricating an aggressive, non-consensual encounter, as the accusations of bruises, bite marks, and red swelling for days after were entirely fabricated and confirmed by the nurse, not days after, but the next day, August 6th. Next, in her police statement, she said that I got on top of her aggressively, and in her description to the Crown, she shared detailed allegations about this without any mention of her participation. In April 17th cross-examination, however, she admitted that after a few minutes of kissing, she swung her legs over my body and straddled me before removing her shirt. Straddling as in mounting me, so sitting on top of my genital area, and grinding her groin area directly on mine while sitting upright on top of me. She also said, now, that she smiled and moaned, and that I would remark, I liked it or moan. Again, this shows that she was an
Okay, so yeah, the girl was on top of this guy. She was straddling him, and somehow, it's like somehow she's being raped when she's on top of him, straddling him. Yeah.
An active participant, contrary to all of her previous statements. This is from April 17, 2024. Next, in a statement to police, she said that she didn't make a single noise or sound besides ow. Then, in cross-examination, she admitted to making noises, moaning, and saying, I like it, during various stages of sexual activity to show her consent that she was an active participant. From the appeal, another inconsistency was the accuser's avowal that the vast majority of the encounter took place in near silence. In chief, she was a silent recipient of Mr. Densmore's advances. She testified that, other than providing her with specific directions, the only sound made by either party was Mr. Densmore calling her a slut. In closing submissions, trial counsel described the accuser's initial depiction as an incomprehensible narrative of a silent movement. It also seems to be incomprehensible to the accuser, who admitted on cross-examination on multiple occasions that they were both moaning and that she was breathing heavy and that she uttered the words, I like that. Next, we're going to start talking about some of the therapist statements. Now, I understand that therapy is something that is very personal, it's very private, and a lot of people watching this might be in therapy, so I'm not using this in any way to try to minimize therapy or discredit therapists in general, okay? Just want to start by saying that. There were many issues with the statements of the therapist.
So yeah, this girl's going to therapy. Not all the screws in her brain are all tightened and whatnot, I guess.
Including inaccuracies given to the therapist by the accuser, which led to the therapist giving very strong opinions and recommendations, which ended up leading to reshaping what actually happened in the mind of the accuser, in addition to collusion. And if you don't know what collusion is, Google it, because it's very bad. The accuser was asked about some of these statements throughout the trial. In this particular one from April 18th, my lawyer, okay, so you're not very truthful with your therapist, are you? The accuser, no, I'm extremely truthful to her. My lawyer, extremely truthful, right? Accuser, yes. My lawyer, that's how you characterize what you're saying to her. The accuser, yes. Here in particular, she made a statement to her therapist where she inaccurately depicted our dates and implied, very dangerously, that I tricked her into coming into my house. I debated whether to send this or not because maybe I'm just being dramatic or stupid or overthinking or reading into something that didn't happen. Or maybe it just brought this whole thing onto myself. But I went on a date tonight. We were supposed to.
So yeah, she's saying this guy tricked her into coming to her house. Meanwhile, it's like presumably on Tinder there would presumably be like a record or whatnot of any of their conversations. Presumably on the Tinder website there'd be records of the conversations. So yeah.
Also go for a hike and then drinks. When I showed up at his house, he said it was too late to go for a walk, so we started watching the movie. My lawyer asked, have I read that accurately? The accuser confirms, yes. My lawyer, and that's not what happened, is it? Accuser, not all the details. No, my lawyer, but that's what you told her happened, right? Accuser, yes. Pause. Inaccuracies like that are super important because they have a severe impact on the therapist's perception of events, which leads to responses from the therapist that, as the therapist's responses would, give massive influence over the accuser. So the therapist receives this, amongst other inaccurate statements, continuing from April 18th. So these are the records that she's made about sessions that she's had with you, and the session date is Friday, August 7th. We sent the session going over her experience and looking at potential stop points where she blamed herself. In reviewing the evening, it is clear the accuser attempted to make the decisions and that he was clearly a predator, skilled in having her make small changes to their plans until she was in his apartment. Have I read that correctly? The accuser confirms, yes. The accuser claims to be extremely truthful to her therapist, giving a completely inaccurate statement about the date to the therapist with a very misleading implication. As a result, the therapist tells her, with authority, he was clearly a predator, skilled in having her make small changes to their plans until she was in his apartment. She then takes these various responses she gets from her therapist and sends them.
Alright, yeah. I don't know about you, but this guy, he doesn't look like a predator. Good taste in mustaches, but he doesn't look like a predator. Just looks like a normal bloke, I tell ya.
To her friends and family, also from April 18th. Yeah, Dr. Therapist said that he seemed very calculated in the way he acted, like he had thought it out, and that I'm not the first. So now, she's giving false information to the therapist, the therapist is responding, and then she's taking what the therapist is responding and sending it to her friends using the authority of the therapist. This is one of the many messages that the accuser sent to her friends and family. You can see more in the May 31st closing arguments. Now, during testimony at trial, her statement changed. April 12th, you said the tour was approximately 15 minutes, nothing unusual. What happens after?
So she's going back and forth on her story, changing shit on the fly. Got it. God damn.
After that, she answers, then he suggests that we go for a hike. Oh, And how did you then end up going for a hike? What happens after that? He suggested that we drive to a trail that was close by to his house. So I agreed to that, and we started driving there. So the accuser admitted.
So she's going to him. Oh yeah, this guy's an apex predator right here. It's like, a predator would imply the hunt, and it's like this. It's like he's just inviting her over. Like he's just inviting her over, you know.
Admitted that actually I suggested we go for a hike, which was the original plan, and then we left the house. Okay, so you described driving towards the apartment. Accuser, Do you eventually stop somewhere? Accuser, no. He says that it's busy and that we shouldn't bother going on a hike because it's getting dark out. Going a bit down, then what happens? Accuser, so then he suggests going back to his house. Are you able to give us an estimate about how long you were trying to locate a hiking trail? Accuser, again, not long, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And so, did you agree with his suggestion to go back to his house? Accuser, I did. We then returned to the house after she agreed to return and watch Netflix and chill. But literally the same night as the date, August 5th, she then goes and tells a very different and inaccurate version the same night. So many implications, opinions, responses, and collusion and influences were made from these inaccurate statements. And what's super concerning about all this, aside from that, she never corrected her therapist by saying, actually, he did suggest going for a hike, and then we actually did leave the house and go to the hiking trail. And we only returned after she agreed to because it was getting dark. Another thing she never acknowledged, the reason it was getting dark is why we came back was because she showed up over 30 minutes late to the date in the first place. So instead of being honest about this, or clarifying it, or correcting it at all, she then took the therapist's responses, amongst others, and then sent them to her friends and family members. Objectively speaking,
okay, yeah, goddamn.
this can be considered very problematic because she essentially gave an inaccurate statement to the therapist, which then elicits responses based on these false details. And then instead of correcting them, she uses them as authoritative proof that something happened to her that didn't actually happen. But all of this was...
So basically, this chick is making shit up to the therapist, and the therapist is saying a whole bunch of shit, and she's lying to him, and using the words from it there, using accredited words as authority. Yeah.
Was under false pretenses from false information. And this was not cleared up and corrected until nearly 4 years later at trial in 2024. At that point, all these communications and the eventual false accusation had already happened. The damage had already been done because amongst all of the other inaccurate statements made to the therapist, this completely colored the therapist's perception of what actually happened, leading to her convincing the accuser, I was a skilled predator, I've done this to multiple people, amongst other things, such as, she's not the first, as somebody that's never met me and knows absolutely nothing about me, to intentionally put out false information to someone, and then take what they said in response and use that as an authoritative source to influence friends and family. And this is just a small taste. I highly recommend you go through the April 18th testimony. Everything's in there, and it is shocking. Okay, moving on. Next, when giving her original statements to the police, she said that oral sex lasted 5 to 10 minutes, but also that the consent video incident happened about 1 minute into the oral sex, and then our brief conversation about it was approximately 1 minute long. So this timeline would imply that oral sex resumed afterwards to fill up the remaining 3 to 8 minutes. At trial, on April 12th, she said that after the consent video, she immediately stood up and successfully put her clothes on and claimed that she tried to leave. But then, during cross-examination on April 17th, she acknowledged there could have been more time for oral sex. and it was possible that it continued. My lawyer, okay, but then...
Yeah. Yeah, this is the system we're living in, folks. In Canada. In Canada. It's like there can be no evidence. There can be contradicting statements. The whole works. Everything to prove yourself innocent, but then, yeah, you end up still going to jail. And yeah, this system is in place for anyone to use. So, if a woman wanted to destroy your life, it's like they have the infrastructure there to destroy your life, you know. And it's like, how many women out there, it's like they're getting frustrated, they're getting angry. It's like they can't find a guy to have kids with, etc. It's like, how much longer? It's like, how much longer is it going to take for them to decide? It's like, hey, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go take my anger out on these guys here. We'll pick a random guy, destroy his life for whatever reason, you know? Or maybe it's like these women, it's like they want to get rid of you. It's like you're working at a job. It's like maybe they want to get rid of you, destroy your life, you know? It's like the infrastructure is all there to basically destroy your life, you know? It's like if you refuse their advances, it's like they'll just say you touched them and whatnot. You touched them or something like that. If you don't refuse their advances, it's like then all of this could happen to you. So it's like, yeah, unless you're wearing a body cam or something, you know, it's like, yeah. It's like, you refuse her advances, she says that you touched her. If you don't refuse her advances, it's like, she can go to the police, you get falsely accused, and she can ruin your life that way. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
You'll also agree with me that even after he put his phone away, that you continue to engage with him in oral sex. Accuser, I don't remember. Lawyer, okay, well let's talk about timing here, because you said the oral sex lasts between 5 and 10 minutes, right? Accuser, yes. And the incident with the phone happened about a minute or two into the oral sex, right? Accuser, yes. So therefore, there was more time for oral sex. Accuser, there could have been. Lawyer, okay, it's possible that it continued, right? Accuser, it's possible. I'm not even going to say my version of events, okay? This is her version versus her own version. This completely contradicts her other version of events about getting up, putting her clothes on, and then trying to leave. From the appeal. In chief, April 12th, the accuser testified that once Mr. Densmore took out his phone, she stood up, starting to put her shirt on, looking for her purse. Remember the purse for later. On April 17th, when trial counsel asked the accuser whether she continued to engage with him in oral sex after his phone was put away, she claimed that she did not remember, in addition to, there could have been time. Upon further questioning on April 18th, the accuser conceded that it was possible that she performed additional fellatio following the phone incident. This is a massive contradiction, because if oral sex continued, which is what actually happened, that would mean all of the things she said about getting up, putting her clothes on, and trying to leave was completely fabricated. Look at the transcripts. Moving on. There was further conflicting evidence in regards to her retrieving and putting her shirt on. This is from April 18th, after my lawyer has been asking her about when we had sex. And then I asked where the bathroom was and left the room. Why would you need to ask for the washroom? He's already showed you where it was before you got to his room. Accuser, he did. I guess that was my way of telling him I needed to use the washroom. A little further down. So you'll agree with me that according to you, those are the first words spoken by you or him since you had that little exchange about the phone, correct? Accuser, I believe that he did say something when I was putting on my shirt. Remember that. I don't remember what it was, but I remember kind of awkwardly laughing. My lawyer, okay, so now you remember that, right? But you didn't remember it before. Accuser, I don't remember what he said. I remember not responding to him talking though. Lawyer, well you did. You said you laughed. Accuser, yes. Lawyer, so that was a response, right? Accuser, okay, yes. So, aside from the earlier statements about total silence, which we've gone over, the inaccuracy here is in her earlier version of events, she claimed to have stopped oral sex, stood up, and already had put her shirt on. From April 12th, accuser, I'm still sitting down, but when he went to go put his phone down, he had kind of removed...
So yeah, two conflicting series of events happening here. Okay. We're 30 minutes in, but yeah, this is what we're living with in Canada. And yeah, it's like, how long before the women figure this out, that they can use the legal system? How long before they figure out they can use the legal system to destroy guys' life, you know? And it's like, we live in it's like, on top of that, it's like, Canada, it's like, we brought in a lot of immigrants from more, how shall we say, cutthroat regions of the world. It's like India, it's like they're pretty cutthroat. China's pretty cutthroat. A whole bunch of other places are pretty cutthroat. It's like, how long before it's like, how long before these women decide to use the legal system to go after guys and whatnot in the workforce, you know, all that stuff, you know? Like, how long before that happens, you know? It's like, you may say I'm paranoid, but just give it 5 to 10 years, folks. It's like, yeah, give it 5 to 10 years. Alright. I think I've seen enough of this video. It's like, how long is this? Okay, yeah, 51 minutes long. 51 minutes long video. God damn. I'm not gonna watch all of it. Like, comment, people who make false accusations need prison. She got caught lying to law enforcement multiple times and they still convicted him. That's insane. Police asking the accuser what to redact is crazy. I simply do not understand how it's fair that the accuser can choose to redact evidence that contradicts her story. How the fuck can a therapist, I almost wrote that as terrorist. How the F can a therapist testify to something they never witnessed? She is doing all of this just to convince her boyfriend she didn't cheat. Oh yeah. Why are men checking out of the dating scene? It's disturbing how many corrupt people are walking the streets with us. Bro went to prison for a consensual one-night stand. It's like, yeah. Alternatively, you wait to have sex after you get married, you wait to have sex. It's like, woman at any point can just pull the pin in that relationship, destroy your finances. If you got any kids or whatnot, you're getting those kids taken away from you. You know, just socialize, bro. Imagine if you didn't have the money for this defense. Oh yeah. It's like, I don't know about you, but it's like, I can't whip a legal team to help defend me. Oh yeah. Like, how long before more women figure out that this system is in place and that they can use it to destroy men's lives, you know? It's like, a lot of these women, it's like, they got nothing to lose. It's like, if they're not having kids, they just feel like having some sadistic pleasure, you know, doing some shit, you know? The accuser contacting the local newspaper to run a story is what has me sold. It's BS. Going to prison for something I didn't do is my greatest fear. Fair enough, bud. This is why false accusations of crimes such as these should also be a crime. Not only do women like this destroy the life of the wrongly accused men, they also discredit every real victim of sexual assault. True, yeah. False accusations should have the same legal repercussions for the accuser. Never ever do hookup culture. Yeah. So yeah. Crazy world we're living in. It is a crazy world we're living in, folks. It sounds like she wanted revenge for sending her home after sex. The worst thing she can say is no. When I was in high school, a girl was bragging about falsely accusing her neighbor of assault. He went to prison. As a Canadian, our laws are so fucking shit, and in this case, clearly in favor of one side. As a female who survived a survivor of CSA, this makes me so angry. People like this girl make a mockery of actual SA. It cheapens actual victims and it punishes innocent men. This girl to be in prison. I'm so sorry this has happened to you. Also, this therapist needs to be charged as well, or at the very least have her license revoked. Oh yeah. Feeling the need to film a consent video with people before you sleep with them is a crazy way to live. Oh yeah. Alternatively, if the guy had just sent her out before anything happened, it's like she would have definitely either way, it's like she would have definitely made some shit up against this guy, most definitely. She would have made some shit up about this guy, and it would still, his life still would have gone destroyed. If you ask me. So she consented, then felt shameful, and then decided after the fact she just wanted to withdraw consent. Crazy, yeah. So anyway, this is my thoughts on the video, on this video. If you have any comments to my reaction, drop them down there. Like, share, and subscribe. Hype this video, and yeah, I'm your host, the Blood Knight of the Old Republic of Bloodganistan. Keep your sticks on the ice and your cards on the table, folks. Peace out.